We are at the Church of the Resurrection of Christ in Vasilevskaya village, where the last senior priest during Soviet period was new martyr Nikolay Vinogradov.
Holy martyr Nikolay Vinogradov was born to the family of priest Mikhail Vinogradov on the 5th of April in 1876 in Dmitrov. It is known that his ancestors were clergy. He also followed their steps. After finishing ecclesiastical academy, he became a religious teacher of law of God. In 1898, Nikolay Mikhailovich married the daughter of priest Ivan Mitropolsky Antonina. Wedding took place in the Church of Intercession on Varvarka. That year he became a deacon and served in Moscow Ascension Convent. In the family there were 6 children. In 1917, Nikolay Mikhailovich became a priest and began to serve at the Church of Holy Martyr Georgy. After the revolution, his family was deprived of livelihood. In 1918, after churches of Zaryadye were closed, priest Nikolay Vinogradov was transferred to the Church of Martyr Nikita on Chivaya Gora, where he served for nearly 18 years. By that time he was ordained an archpriest. The process of extermination of clergy and closure of churches went on. Despite appointments and closure of the Ascension Convent, Father Nikolay did not stop caring about nuns of the monastery. In the petition of Mother Superior of the convent, Abbess Evgenia, to Patriarch Tikhon it was written, "I beg to your Holiness not to refuse to meet my expectation about the awarding of priest Nikolay Vinogradov with the cross." For his zealous service for the last 25 years, he did not stop caring about me and the nuns of the monastery in hardships, and after our eviction from the convent, he shared all our woes of that hard time and continued to guide us. The resolution of Patriarch Tikhon was to award. The children of Father Nikolay and Mother Antonina grew up, and their flat became too small for several families. Priest Nikolay with his wife moved to a room in a bell tower under the bell turret. Nearly 1935, the authorities closed the Church of Great Martyr Nikita, and Father Nikolay had to move to a new place of service. The priest served at the Church of the Nativity of Christ in Izmailo for a short time, while the same year he was appointed to the Church of the Resurrection of Christ in the village of Vasilevskaya of Rusa district of Moscow region. As in the former priest's house there was a village council, Father Nikolay with his wife had to settle in an old broken-backed hut in the churchyard. During those hard years, parishioners did not leave the priest. People from Moscow, including nuns, visited him for confession. In summer, priest's grandchildren lived in the village of Vasilevskaya. The elder Nikolay was called the granddad's tail, as he tried to follow the priest everywhere. The grandson helped Father Nikolay serving in the altar, gathered mushrooms in forests, often asked him different questions. One day Nikolay asked his grandfather how to act when you went past a church that already might be closed, if it was needed to bare head and to cross yourself. Father Nikolay answered, "If you feel that people around understand and also cross themselves, you always should stop and cross yourself. But if you expect negative reaction and foul language from people around, do not lead them into any temptation." The priest often had to recite rites in nearby villages. Despite having sore feet that swelled, he never refused people's requests. One day, moving painfully to the village of Vasilevskaya, he met a man who said, "When you meet a pope, you will have no path." Father Nikolay began the talk without any insult. The man was confused and explained that he did not want to hurt the priest, as it was other people's statement. According to the reminiscences of Nikolay Nikolaevich Ushakov, the priest's grandson, acting that way was common for Father Nikolay when somebody said or did something bad. He liked to go to the graveyard and pray near the graves. Father Nikolay served liturgies very often. He had a loud voice, serving very attentively without any hurry. Usually there were very few people in the church, mainly elderly women. Sometimes girls from the nearby school came across. On holidays, people from far away came to the church. A small choir was organized. In 1936, aged 56, his wife Antonina Ivanovna died. During this period there was an active process of closure of churches, while people were forced to deny their beliefs. they were strong measures against Orthodox traditions and customs. In the last summer of his mundane life, the relatives of Archpriest Nikolay Vinogradov remembered him as a man of few words, concentrated and looking at all like from another world in a slightly aloof way. Not before the arrest of Father Nikolay, the head of the village council wrote to a local newspaper that the priest advisedly organized services at the church, distracting people from work, attracting children to church with sweets. According to the detention order, it was written that he gathered collective farmers near the church and was reading the Bible to them. On Easter in 1937, Father Nikolay reached the agreement with a boatman to ferry people over the Moscow River for free. Then the priest was accused in the disruption of anti-Easter evening of collective farmers. Priest Nikolay Vinogradov was arrested at night on the 24th of August in 1937, being accused in anti-Soviet agitation. Later his relatives managed to find out that priest Nikolay Vinogradov was sentenced to 10 years of imprisonment without rights of correspondence. In his last cross procession, Father Nikolay went wearing a cassock, being ready for the destiny. According to the accusation, he denied his guilt. The measures taken during the questioning are not known. Despite the fact that according to the indictment the convicted was deprived the right of correspondence with his relatives, in December 1937 a letter from Father Nikolay was received. On a piece of paper it was written, "Good afternoon, my dear children. I am still alive. Are you alive, and where are you? I am working. If you can, send me some white dried crusts, sugar and salt. My address is the town of Ust-Vim, NKVD labor camp, the third detached area, the village of Ust-Koyen, to convicted Nikolay Vinogradov. Postscriptum, let God your well-being." The children prepared a parcel and sent it to the written address. The parcel returned with the inscription, "The addressee is not registered," while instead of products in the parcel there were stones. On the 24th of December 1937 he was dead. Archpriest Nikolay passed away as a holy martyr in the NKVD labor camp in Komi Republic. He was the last prior priest of the Church of the Resurrection of Christ before its closure and devastation. On the 24th of October in 1996, Holy Martyr Nikolay was rehabilitated. Several years later, he was canonized by the Russian Orthodox Church. On the 24th of December, a celebration in honor of Saint Nikolay took place. Matins and Divine Liturgy were recited. The descendants of the saint also took part in the Mass. The cross of the saint with relics was brought by their relatives for worshipping. As the senior priest of the church, Igor Shramilov, said, "God allowed much for us to understand what destruction a person who denied God could reach. I have shown you many good works from the Father. For which of these do you stone me?" The Pharisees were asked by Jesus Christ, later being executed by means of the most excruciating execution. So the holy martyr who served God gave his life for their faith. But indeed he gained the true life, the eternal one. This is the gospel path that Jesus Christ was talking about. Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me.